for it.
Friggin' what up, dude? Strider Wilson, and I'm the host of this podcast that's mine, going to be called History is Dank. History is Dank with Strider Wilson. Dankness from the heart.
Friggin' what up, dude? Welcome back to another ep of History is Dank, dude. I'm your host, Strider Wilson, dude. We got Aaron going beast mode on the sticks, dude. What up, Aaron, dude?
What up?
Dude, just freaking posted up right now, dude. You know, don't want to start off on a negative note, but my fantasy team sucks. You know what? Here's the thing. Can I say this? My fantasy team doesn't suck. I've got, I think, maybe the third or fourth most PF. That's 0.4 for all the noobs out there. I got a real high points against. And look, am I moaning right now? Yeah, I'm moaning. I'm complaining. But I got to tell you, I cannot deal with this stuff, man. I can't deal with taking the L's. I'm losing single digit battles here. It's a disaster out there for me. So I might be out of the playoffs. I got a 30% chance of getting in. So, you know, I'm going to be angry around the holidays. I'm going to yell at my family. I'm going to, my loved ones are going to they're going to ask me a question. Hey, man, what's everyone in the mood for? Hey, you know what? We made a big dinner or whatever, Thanksgiving. Should we just get, takeout day after? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to turn around, walk outside. I'm going to be outside looking into the distance a lot this holiday season. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Someone's going to talk to me. My only answer is going to be whatever. Everything right now is just whatever. Hey, man, I don't care how great the stakes are. I don't care if the house is burning down. House is burning down, middle of the night. Fireman bursts through the door. Hey, we got to go. Whatever, man. Hold on. I'll meet you outside. Just meet him outside and dap him up. I'm definitely going to dap him up. Thank you, dude, but just whatever. That's where I'm at. So just trying to stay stoked, dude. Hopefully you guys are staying stoked, dude. Sun goes down. Everyone says it's for the farmers when they do fall back. That's a week ago, 2 weeks ago now. I don't like when it gets dark. I'm a big Pacific Northwest guy. I like to envision myself driving a Subaru with a roof rack. I like to envision myself having some sort of, recreational activity that combines air and water. I want to say kite surfing, but I feel like in the watersheds of the Pacific Northwest, I could barely get that sentence out. Whoa. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe a kayak, and I attach a kite to my life vest and it pulls me so I can drop waterfalls pretty easy. It'd be sick. But look, I'm not an active guy. I'm a whatever guy. I like to look at stats and then get disappointed by them. And so, but I do like to envision myself cruising around, dude, maybe putting, licorice in my coffee. I imagine that's what they do up in, Seattle or somewhere up in, Oregon or whatever, Washington State, maybe even Vancouver. Maybe I'll be a Canadian. I don't know. Just driving around, cozy, wearing a shawl, sweater, and I'm having my dog and just being a postman in the Pacific Northwest could be a pretty sick life. Wearing shorts, no matter how cold it is, whatever. Jacked calves, getting people the messages they need, advertisements, basically, credit card offers, whatever it is. Subaru callbacks, recalls on their vehicles, whatever it is. Pretty sick life. Really, my fantasy team's doing so bad, I want to reinvent my whole life. I want to just change my whole life, change who I am, change my entire identity. I've said it, I'll say it again, go gothic. Maybe I am Pacific Northwest where it's dark up there. It's where the Cullens live, Twilight style. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's for the goths, not for the farmers. It was for World War II, World War I. Jeez Louise. Battle tactics. Be the first to the field, gave you the strategic advantage. So It was to get your guns in place. That's why some German general thought of it. Then we stuck with it, said it was for the farmers. The sun comes up when the sun comes up. Like the whole society needs to change clocks so dudes can set their clocks 1 hour so they can get up an hour earlier. No. The sun's not changing the position in the sky. We set the clocks how we want them in our time zone. What's going on? Why are we doing that? Stop. Honestly, you know what? You want to know how I feel about daylight savings? Whatever. That's how I feel, dude. So, anyway, trying to stay fired up, dude. Big shout out to my boys. Big shout out to Aaron's buddy in San Diego. Horny friend, what up? Legit. We were talking about him pre-show. Shout out to the Horny Bros. Shout out to my boy Luke. Crushing Jimmy John's in the parking lot right now, dude. Get yourself a pickle, dude. So, I'm fired up. In history, I like uniforms. It's the only reason I wanted to play youth sports. Only reason I wanted to be on a club soccer team. Didn't have the skill level to get it done, or the commitment, or the energy. Honestly, I was like, whatever. I wanted the kit, the uniform. Sick. I just wanted to swoosh while I walked next to other dudes. That swoosh of getting off the team shuttle or whatever, when you get into the stadium or whatever, that's pretty sick. I did have that when I played volleyball the first few years at UCSD. Didn't always travel with the team, but when I got to, I liked the swoosh. It was nice. Bunch of skinny, tall, lanky, white dudes who got, you play volleyball if you can't handle yourself in the paint in basketball. That's why you play volleyball. And just swooshing around. Dudes with long hair, a little bit sunburnt, chapped lips, just swooshing around. Pretty sick. Headphones on, dude. Sick. So I thought about what's an elite group of bros that had pretty iconic uniforms in history. And who are these dudes? Voting, we just voted. Election just happened. And everywhere you go to vote in person, and I didn't do that this year, but I have in the past. And every time I look around, I drive around like, what is that building? Why is there a huge line? Oh, that's where people are voting. It's always a lodge, like a moose lodge or an elk lodge. Who are these guys? Why do they like moose and elk so much, or not like them? Where they hunt them and then mount them. And then they're like, we're dudes who like mooses and elks. What is a bunch of Harry Potters with the stag Patronus dudes going on? What's going on? Aaron, who are these guys?
Divorced dads.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Or not, maybe not even divorced dads. Married dads who just need to get out of the house.
Yeah, if you got to get out of the house, and I feel like if you got to get out of the house, maybe it's a healthier way than be like, I'm just going to go to the bar and down, 7 Bud Lights and then drive back home. Bad call.
Oh, there's a bar in there.
Oh, so these guys still do get after it.
It's way cheaper.
Okay, so they're getting a discount. Okay, so these guys still are.
Yeah, it's like a VFW. Like that drink that's normally $8 is $4.
Nice.
Or $2.
VFW is so sick, dude. I wish. This is kind of what we're talking about today. Is a group of dudes that I don't know who they are. The Knights Templar. Who are these guys? What's going on? They had sick uniforms. You watch the movie Kingdom of Heaven with my boy Orlando Bloom. What up? Sick movie. You see some Knights Templar in there.
Yeah. The Da Vinci Code?
The Da Vinci Code, big time. A lot of conspiracies around them. You don't get the movie National Treasure with my boy Nick Cage without the Knights Templar and without conspiracy theories. So we'll talk about that at the end a little bit. But we're going to get into who were, and if you like to say who are, but really, who were the Knights Templar? Little teaser for you right here. Okay? They're dudes known for bravery and banking. No, they're not Patagonia vest-wearing dudes on Wall Street who buy $25 lobster tails and eat them standing up in New York City before they go back to their offices. No, I'm not talking about those brave bankers, those brave young 25-year-olds working for their dad's friend's company. Not to say that you can't hustle in finance, but I mean, come on. Yeah.
They're also not NASCAR drivers like your shirt.
Thank you. Exactly. They ain't doing
riding up on the bank.
They ain't hitting it, They ain't getting 3 wide on turn 2 at Daytona, baby, hitting up 198 miles per hour. Whoo-wee. Get low. Who they're going 3 wide? They ain't doing that, all right? Takes balls. It takes nuts to go 3 wide, turn 2 Daytona, baby. Okay? And do you have and I know you got the nuts, but will you put your nuts where your mouth is? Will you? These Templars, they had something called a squadron charge. Very sick. Battle tactic. Small group of knights, heavily armed war horses, stampeding at you. They'd gather into a tight unit, tight. They'd train their battle horses to get really, really tight, break together. Imagine when Éomer shows up in fucking Lord of the Rings, dude. From the east on the 5th day. Look to the east. Fucking Gandalf with his bright light, and they're stampeding down upon the Uruk-hai there at the gates of Helm's Deep. That's massive. This would be smaller, but same idea. And with the determination and force of men of faith.
By the way, you think anyone in his crew, like going down that hill, was like, "Oh shit!" Like,
for sure,
like a roller coaster.
Just talking about your nuts where your mouth is. Your nuts are in your middle of your throat. Yeah. Your balls are so like you're getting that roller coaster feeling the whole time. Yeah. Just
and then I gotta fight mutant dudes at the bottom of this hill.
Mutant dudes who get born out of like weird embryo sacs in the middle of a mountain volcano.
Yeah, mud dudes.
Yeah, weird mud dudes. Psh.
Gigantic jacked mud dudes, actually. Yeah.
They are jacked. Some of those dudes could be linebackers for sure. Yeah. DNs.
I bet they're all rugby players.
My favorite ones are the little Weasley ones, like in, I think it's number 3 when they finally get to the castle, you know.
Yeah. Those are just orcs.
Yeah. Those aren't even Uruk-hai.
No, those are orcs. Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference between orcs and Uruk-hai? This is huge. This is massively educational.
Uruk-hai are breeded by Saruman to be bigger and stronger. And there's only so many of them compared to orcs have been around forever. Yeah.
And orcs are a naturally occurring species on Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. They're the more Weasley ones.
Yeah. They can't go out in the sun.
They make this face like when they stab, like when he stabs Aragorn in the one the guy, and he makes like that weird evil jizzing death face. Yeah, little weasel.
I stabbed you. I stabbed you. Now I'm dead.
Peter Jackson is a great director. Like the way that he directs that scene of like the cafeteria fight in like the orc. I love that they have a cafeteria also in Mordor. You got to eat somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're just like getting mad, like stealing stuff. Like it's just hijinks in there all the time. Just a stressful life. Just a friggin' frat house. What a disaster. Anyway, if you saw the squadron charge and you were maybe a member of, you'd be a Muslim force. It was, this is the Crusades that we're talking about here. Christian knights of Christendom of the Byzantine and Latin Empire, both sects of the two facets or sides of the formerly Holy Roman Empire split up into the Byzantine Empire in the east, and then the continuation of whatever you want to call it, but just various different European powers after the fall of Rome. You have these Christians going over to secure holdings in the Holy Land as a result of Muslim forces taking lands in Europe. So we'll get into a little bit more of that. But anyway, you have these Knights Templar, and we'll get into like how they come about in a moment. But they would do this squadron charge and break through the enemy lines. They would be the tip of the spear. So they were revered, they were honored, and they were praised all over Europe for their bravery in battle. And though they had a relatively smaller number, they would routinely join other armies in key battles. So it was kind of sick. They were kind of like this, always, of course, on the Christian side of things, but they would join, whether it be a Spanish or a Portuguese force, whatever it is, or a French or a British force. they would join up and be like, all right, we're going to go help you fight in this battle, if it was a big enough one. They fought alongside Louis VIII of France, King Richard I of England. So they fought in a lot of strategic battles. But who were these dudes? All right? With sick uniforms that we'll get into. They were an order of devout Christian warriors, founded in Jerusalem sometime in like 1118 or 1119, of course, AD, after the time of Jesus. The order was created to protect European traveling to the Holy Land. We'll get into this. I said bravery and banking. So, described by an Archbishop Tyree and Chancellor of the Kingdom of Jerusalem at the time, he is described. Templar comes about after the First Crusade. The First Crusade took place 1096 to 1099. Went on for hundreds of years. There's 3, but there are tons of ongoing battles. This Archbishop Tyree, Chancellor of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, describes the Knights Templar as such. You know he talks like this. Those brave men who went out from the Kingdom of the West. Knights known across European as the elite fighting force, strict code of conduct, and eventual mass wealth. That's how he describes them. A man of foresight. So how did they form? I mentioned this, Byzantine and Latin rulers, former Roman Empire. They're losing land to these Muslim powers. They want their land back. But they can't just be like, hey man, we're losing our wealth. You guys want to come just like fight for us and like help me get my wealth, and then maybe, you can keep some of your wealth that you get, but like, I don't know how much, but really it's about me. No one's going to go fight that battle. You need a battle, a godly battle to be fought. They say, look, these guys are coming in. They worship, really kind of it's the same God, but whatever. We won't get into that on this podcast. But anyways, you have these Christian kings being like, these guys are taking our stuff, and our God wants us to have that stuff for us so we can spread the good word. People can get behind that. Also, they're like, look, man, you're basically a serf, basically a slave. What's your life really like? Honestly, you kind of don't have a choice. Let's go. These guys mount up. They go to the Holy Land. Basically, let me see here. These kings have to write to the Pope to get help to capture Christianity's Holy Land, which starts the First Holy Crusade. You have two leaders, Alexios Komnenos, Byzantine emperor, and then you got Pope Urban. Basically, he's in charge of the Pope at this time. This is the time when the Pope is the dude. Like I say, the Latin speaking, the Vatican, ruler of Western Europe and kind of Eastern Europe is, Orthodox Christian in the East. They team up together to go fight a Christian war. And then these circumstances produce the Knights Templar. After the holy sites are conquered, so the First Crusade, successful in the eyes of the Christian rulers, they now have the duty to hold these lands. Who's going to do it? Everyone's there. We fought. We got our stuff. Let's go back home. I want to go home. I don't want to stay over here. Let's cruise back. There's a need to defend these whole landings in the Holy Land, as well as govern the population that they just conquered, which includes Christians, Jews, Muslims, and settlers from Europe. Some people do stay. So who's going to do that? And then there's this, let's see. Also, no, I'll skip that quote. Annoying. So basically, that's the issue. We gotta maintain our holdings, which could be reattacked. We need to also govern this population in the Middle East. These Western powers have to do that. So, what do? They don't team up together. No one writes the Pope this time for battle blessings or anything like that. There's this dude in France. His name's Hugh de Payens. Hugh de Payens is this guy's name. His name is Mr. Hugh de Payens. And he's a French nobleman who remained in Jerusalem after visiting sometime between 1114 and 1116. Now, there's not much known about Hugh de Payens, but there's enough in the name to know what you need to know. He's the first Grand Master of the Knights Templar. Okay? He's a French knight from the Champagne area of Burgundy in France. He most likely fought in the Holy Land during the First Crusade as a vassal and for the Count of Champagne. And he was poorly educated, but a reliable and good fighter. He probably returned. So what he does is he goes home after the First Crusade, and he gets his boys. He gets 8 of his boys, and he goes, "Look, he's a guy who's maybe not book smart, but he's street smart. Hugh de Payens." And he says, "I'm gonna fucking cruise back to the Holy Land, but I gotta get my boys." So he rounds up 8 of his closest dudes. They squad up, right? Remember the squadron charge that I mentioned? These guys squad up. And he goes back. Relatives and good and close acquaintances, people he trusts, his inner circle. He organizes a charity of bodyguards for pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. He says, "Look, we have experience. We fought in the Crusade. We know the strategy of our enemy. We've been to these sites. Look at my boys. We're official. We've got sick-ass uniforms. We're going to take you to the Holy Land. You pay us. We escort you." Simply to protect Christians and individuals, whoever it is, if you've got the right money, from small groups of bandits and robbers. Later, according to a historian, this guy named Hodge, they become among the most legendary warriors in history, fighting against thousands in huge battles. Remember, teased that, fighting alongside kings. Their first base is set up at the Temple of King Solomon. Okay? So, these guys are making some bank. It's successful, but you got to expand. And anytime you want to grow a business, you want to have people you trust. If I was going to start a business, I want professionalism. My modern definition of professionalism is just someone who's been defeated by life. Where you say, "I'm going to put on a tie. I don't mind being the hamster. I just want to be left alone at the end of the day. Look, I'll tape my dick to my leg. I'm going to be courteous to everyone. I'm going to check my horniness. In fact, my horniness is gone. All I'm horny for now in life is silence. Hire that guy. I'm going to get a company car. It's going to be a Ford Focus. I don't even think those make those anymore. But it's going to be a Ford Focus because that's what I do at work. I'm focused. I'm determined. And I show up on time. That's called professionalism. And what fuels my focus, determination, and timeliness is sadness. Look, I had dreams. I wanted to start my own company. Didn't work out. Honestly, I'll admit it, I don't have the wherewithal. I don't have what it takes. And I'm not going to get there's a lot of people that get into conspiracy theories and say, "Look, the whole world's against me." No. I'm just not that smart. But I will manage, but I can manage an office. I can make sure pots of coffee are on change. You show me a schedule. You give me a game plan. I'll execute it for you. That's the type of guy that I want to hire. Maybe a former wrestler, a few injuries. Great. Sign them up. But who are the dudes that they're signing up for the Knights Templar here in 1129 when things are blowing up? They have this Council of Troyes, led by Hugh de Payens and Bernard of Clairvaux. They create a 68-point code of conduct for the Templars, known as the Primitive or Latin Rule. It's designed to accentuate their piety and zeal. Okay? It sets out strict instructions for how Templars should conduct themselves at all times. Rules cover everything from clothing to types of horses they could ride, the length of their hat, the style of their beards, how much meat they could eat each week. In particular, it forbade members from any contact with women. I'm out. No.
No
See
dice.
that? That's checking horniness. Horniness fuels everything. You'll see this in this. Basically, this becomes a cult. They have, it's funny.
If anything, I'm joining the Knights to get more pussy.
That's what I'm saying.
Jesus.
Aaron, and you know what? Later on, when they needed more members, they changed that rule. That rule ends up going away.
Why do you think I grew this mustache?
So I'm saying, why do you think I have this sick uniform?
Yeah.
Why do you think I squadron charge and go at the tip of the spear so I can go to the bar later? And when I go whoring, when these guys go whoring later, you don't think they're going to tell these women that, hey, oh yeah, no, I was in the back. I was just supplying. No, I was the dude at the front of the battle. And when other guys dap it up and say, hey man, thanks for breaking through the enemy lines. That really helped us secure victory. I'm not going to capitalize on that. Get out of town.
Tip of the spear, man.
Get out of town.
Like a dick.
Exactly. We're the tip of the weenie.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let me show you something. Perverts. These guys are horny San Diego bros. They got different robes, dude, that have different meanings. There was 3 basically main divisions or ranks in the Templars. There's the noble knights. In order to be a knight, you have to formally and first have been a noble. You don't just get to become a knight. To become one of the dudes who has the horse, multiple horses, armored horses, trained, squires assigned to you. The knights wear mantles that symbolize their purity and chastity. Also, it's funny how I was going to say, the historians say these guys swear oaths to piety or and poverty. It's like everyone in this time, whether you're born poor. So if you're joining this, you don't need to swear to be poor. You just like, what are you going to say? Oh, I promise I won't make money. So there's already a little red flag of saying, what's going on here? These guys are in it to make dough. The whole thing was found to make money as basically a private security force that grows into one of the biggest banking systems and perhaps one of the first banking systems ever. So they wear the red cross with the white draped over the chainmail. Badass. They're the knights. You have brothers, you have knights, brothers, and sergeants. You have chaplain brothers. They wear slightly different colors. You don't get to become full members of the order at first, but this did change later on, like in around 1160. Or like I mentioned, they have an austere code of conduct, signature style of dress. Poverty, chastity, obedience.
A vow of obesity.
That's it. Yeah, oh, did I say obesity? Hilarious.
For a second.
But you can't. Maybe I said they did regulate how much meat you can eat. They're like, more meat. Eat more meat. Even in the time, the Crusades were debated. In the time, because obviously Jesus teaches peace, turn the other cheek. So is it not counterintuitive to be a fighting force, a soldier? Luck will have it. Back then, the Pope says, I'll make that choice for you guys. Don't worry. Pope Innocent II creates something called a papal bull. Pretty cool. Sounds like something Hugh de Payens would do. He called Omne Datum Optimum. Omne Datum Optimum. Sounds like a Harry Potter, something Harry Potter would say. It's called Every Good Gift. So placed in the Templars under direct protection from the papacy and confirmed the Latin rule according to Judith Mary Upton Ward, that's a scholar here. The papal bull declared that the Templars did not have to pay taxes or tithes to the church and were free to travel across borders unhindered. They answered to nobody but the Pope himself. So
it's a bit like the guys in Armageddon.
Yeah, they get the Armageddon treatment, dude. No taxes, no nothing. These guys are good to go. You have that uniform, that Templar uniform. They don't answer to anyone. Not even kings, bro.
Yeah.
They only answer to the Pope. And the Pope, because here's the thing. wealthy European travelers would go to the Holy Land and they want to store and make sure their belongings don't get looted while they're away. They put them in. And then you have these, and this goes back to these lodges, these Masonic lodges or elk lodges. And then these Templars would team up with stone masons. They needed masons to get involved to build. And there's this style of architecture, which are their old school banks, where they would hold belongings of wealthy European travelers or, semi-wealthy travelers or whatever it is. Hey, man, this is my favorite porno mag. Don't lose this thing. Keep it in your friggin' vault, dude.
Yeah.
Going to the Holy Land real quick. Find some stuff out about myself. Whatever it is.
Every safe deposit box in a bank is just like the porn in the woods.
Yeah, medieval wood, like a wood block porno. One of the positions. This is my favorite position. Let's just say it's going to heavily feature and prune my crudité here. A part of my crudité. It's going to be a lot of bush. No question about that. In any case, yeah, maybe it's just Hugh de Payens. It's just pictures of Hugh de Payens. This guy, the first Grand Master, dude. Anytime you're joining an organization where there's a Grand Master, look out.
Yeah.
Have a second thought. Grand Master, dude. So funny, dude. And anytime there's robes, I've said this before, look out. Grown dudes shouldn't be in robes.
No.
I don't care what hotel you're staying at. I don't care if you're getting a spa treatment. So, yeah, dude, these guys have the ultimate blessing, and this enables them to go on and create their banking system and set up the most prosperous network of banks. They gain huge financial influence. It allows religious pilgrims, like I said, to deposit their assets, withdraw funds and then withdraw funds back in the Holy Land. Makes travel safer. You're not going to get ganked. So this banking system, basically, it's like it truly is necessity's a mother of invention. These guys who are like, look, I'm traveling with my, whether it be human property, physical, whatever, gold or whatever pieces you're bringing with you to the Holy Land, horse, whatever. You can deposit that in the Holy Land. You can be like, okay, we'll hold your horses here. You can go ahead and take a few horses that we already have down there for you. Just travel with this writ of paper, give it to the dude down there, one of the brothers, who's going to be down there, the sergeant's brothers were kind of like the, original first bankers. So pretty badass system. It is kind of badass banking if you think about it. Get yourself a Patagonia vest now. Wear it with pride.
I mean, it is very necessary in a world where you could just get ganked anytime.
Anytime you could get ganked. Anytime.
So at least you're like, I don't have anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then they get smart. They realize how much power they have. Charge you fees, banking fees, all this stuff. Ooh, you overdraft. Sending emails. Setting up the first ATMs. Freaking Hugh de Payens was pulling ATMs back in the day, dude. And I'm talking about bank vault style ATMs, dude. Something to picture you find in one of those vaults, dude. Mm-hmm. Kings become indebted to the Templars. And here is where greed comes in. When Jesus came to the temples, he kicked out the bankers. He kicked out the greedy people. He said, get out. He didn't kick out the faithful. These Templars, they get too greedy, bro. Okay? Philip the IV of France, he becomes pretty heavily indebted. And look, maybe Philip, he was overextending himself. And, maybe the Templars are like, look, bro, we've extended you quite a bit. We know you're the king of France, but you haven't repaid us, man. When are we going to see some of these funds come back? Look, maybe we can't even eat this. We can't eat these costs, man. We're going to have to start a whole new war. Murder and kill people just to get money to repay your debts. I don't know, man. Don't get me wrong. We love the squadron charge, but bro, we don't know if we want to do that. I'm losing hair in my beard, and I got strict beard code in my freaking fraternity here, dude, of knights. So, and this is after Pope Innocent, who had the back of the Templars, and other popes, of course, were reaping the benefits as well. But Pope IV of France, and remember, this is started in France. The main headquarters is in Paris for the Templars. And he goes, look, I'm the king of France. Paris is my city. Fuck these guys who I owe money to. Fuck them. He says, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take your property and wealth. As the king, yeah. He uses this tone, yeah. But he's French. He probably goes, ooh, you. He probably made, probably did that noise. Probably said, documentary. And then went ahead and ganked their wealth, dude. On top of that, he says, you know what? I'm going to charge these Templars with spitting and trampling on the cross. Now, they said, and this hasn't been corroborated, but maybe where there's a smoke, there's fire, that in the initiation, anytime there's also an initiation, look out. They'd said that the Templars were engaging in illicit sexual acts. Like I mentioned, dogs. Like I said, stuff in the vaults, what's going down. They said their ceremonies were perverted. Their beliefs were sacrilegious and perverted, therefore. And sorry, we can't have that. You guys are engaging in a perverted, illicit, anti-Christian acts. You're gone. No longer do you get your wealth. Sorry, I have it on good agency. You're going to swear that one of my lords is not being honest. He's a good and with man. He has nothing against you. He has no financial gain. He just says he's heard this and look at. And then, they pay a few guys or threaten a few guys who are in the order. They're, like I said, they're letting guys in now. They're overextended. You don't have enough guys who've been beaten down by life. You got guys who have a little bit of hope, who want to get a little bit of financial gain. And they're saying, hey, look, yeah, we'll go out in testimony. And maybe something did bad happen. Who can we say? This is in 1307. I don't know. Friday, October 13th, 1307 exactly.
Oh, my birthday.
Really? Let's go. That's really your birthday, Friday the 13th, October 13th? Oh, yeah, maybe not Friday, but October 13th.
No, I was born on a Wednesday.
Legit. So the order at the time, this guy, Grandmaster Jacques de Molay, long after Hugh de Payens' death, Jacques de Molay, executed. Burnt at the stake in Paris. Many of their knights brutally tortured until they confessed on false charges, according to this historian. That's the thing. Torture's not going to reveal you anything. People are going to say anything to make the pain go away. Hearsay of homosexuality, devil worship, fraud, like I mentioned, spitting on religious symbols. Bad. Dozens of Templars burned at the stake. Wow. Under pressure of King Philip, and Pope Clement V reluctantly dissolves the Knights Templar in 1312. It goes into, there's other orders, the Templars are doing a bank, it's just capitalism. People are going to ape their style. There's something called the Hospitallers. Probably saying that wrong. The Knights Hospitallers, sort of some of the Templars devolve and, they get sucked up into their ranks. Others, in Portugal, apparently it's a safe haven. They go to Portugal, and then that's where you get this idea that the Templars, to move some of their wealth, they had these boats. They had 18 boats under their property, and other historians have looked into it. They say conspiratorially that these boats then sailed across the seas and made it to the New World even before Columbus, stored their gold on Oak Island, and then you have one of these Discovery Channel shows going on now. This mysterious treasure of Oak Island. You've got, National Treasure, Book of Secrets, stuff like that. You have, the Templars and the Masons. They were big founders of the American government. You want to get into those conspiracies? Sure. In any case, maybe these guys were former Templars. Who knows if they have this, some sort of secret society or robe wearing stuff, freaking, what's it called? Kubrick style, Eyes Wide Shut style. Who knows that's going on? But they're wealthy dudes and they have monies and means. But some historians say the boats that they would have had to move their money to and fro the Holy Land weren't meant for the open seas of the Atlantic, and most likely would have been, not even a big swell. Any swell, any normal Atlantic-sized wave would have, toppled the vessel. And if you would have loaded it with how much gold they said they moved over there, it would have most likely just sunk and be at the bottom of the Atlantic. So they go to Portugal, they go to Scotland. So pretty sick. pretty freaking sick. Other conspiratorial things say that the Knights Templar, they housed such artifacts as the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, even parts of Christ's cross from the crucifixion, which who knows how they got their hand on that. They weren't even formed until 1100 years later. But in any case, these bros were warriors who became bankers. And I mean, isn't that just what life is? You want to go out, you fight, you claw, you scratch, whatever industry you're in, selling cars, being a dentist, who knows? You fight, the movie Founder about McDonald's. You fight, you claw, you claw. I can't even say it. You scratch to make your first blood nickel. Then when you get your money, you have your business idea. What do you step back? You let these other bros run it for you. You build a few more. You franchise. You build a few more stuff. They franchise. They became a bank. But to keep it banking pun humor, they weren't chasing what matters. They were chasing just that money. Which money matters, but they got a little too greedy. When in doubt, you pull out a loan to a king. You got to be tactful with how you call back for it, I guess, because Philip, he didn't like it. And also, maybe don't have weird initiation rituals that people can start making stuff up about. Because where there's smoke, usually there's fire. It's probably some sort of half-truth in there. Believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see. That's my policy. So, anyway, I guess that's where you're voting now, is in some sort of, 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th time removed Templar structure that's now fired up on elks, moose. So kind of sick. Tight uniforms, very sick, very legit. And, it's probably, there had to have been a couple good dudes in there, dude. Hugh de Payens maybe was a legit dude. I mean, I love his name. One of the best names I've ever heard my entire life. First Grand Master. I mean, you already have the best name. That's another red flag about the Knights Templar. Why change your name to Grand Master when your name is already Hugh de Payens? You know what I mean? Hugh de Payens of the Knights Templar. Also, I wanted to say before we get out of here, I mentioned it, Knights Templar, the full name is their first base, like I mentioned, their home quarters in, their main area of operation in Europe was in Paris. But in Jerusalem, it was in, they had their first base at the Temple of King Solomon. Like I remember, he kicks out the bankers from there. Kind of ironic. The first name for it was, I wanted to say this. It's not even that interesting, to be honest. It's just the Knights, you're like, why Templar, though? I mean, they do have these temples that they set up everywhere. But that's not the etymology of it. It was the Order of the Poor Knights of the Temple of Jerusalem. That's the full name. The poor knights became the richest bankers in the entire world. Too rich. Where the king himself had to say, screw you, bro. I'm taking it back. I'm going to go ahead and default on this loan.
And we're going to burn your ass.
And we're going to burn you. Oh, you don't like that? They let that Grand Master, Jacques de Molay or whatever, live for a while, but then while they're like, you know what, dude? He's starting to try to reform. He doesn't want to give up the title. It's tough to give up the title of Grand Master. So they're like, he's just going to have to get killed now. In any case, huge shout out to the horny dudes out there. Stay freaking stoked. Check out the special Making Memories. It's out on YouTube. It's free. Show your friends. Show your family. Gather around the fire and watch it this holiday season. That's a good move rather than looking at it out in the distance and saying whatever. Look at my special and say, haha. Fired up, stoked. Check out the freaking next step of History Dank coming at you. I'm Strider. Aaron going beast mode on the sticks. Thank you as always. Catch you on the next one, dude. Late.